The infidels tried hard to make Muhammad stop inviting Islam, but they did not succeed at all. Continuous attempt to extinguish the lamp of Islam, and then continuous failure. It was a tragic tragedy for the enemies. They thought that what to do, and what trick should be played in comparison with Muhammad. But alas, Abu Talib had gone. Yes, the same Abu Talib, who was Muhammad's support and helper. There was a strong wall in the storm of afflictions. Because of him, people were associated with Muhammad's movement and wholeheartedly supported Muhammad. Now, the field was empty. The path was smooth. The opportunity was favorable. Now what was the question of gentleness and mercy? Now, there were strong gusts of persecution and burning flames of hatred. Now, everyone was in persecuting Muhammad and was not ready to make even the slightest concession. One day Muhammad was praying in the Kaaba. A wretch became mischievous and put a goat's paunch on Muhammad. What was beloved Prophet's response to this misbehavior? Did he say bad things to this tyrant? Did he curse someone? No, he only said, Al-Imanaf. What kind of behavior is this towards a neighbor? Once Muhammad was going somewhere. Some wretches put dust on his head. Muhammad came home in the same condition. Daughter Fatima saw this, ran to fetch water and started washing her head. She was dropping water and mixing tears in it. The oppression with her father was tearing his liver, and the misbehavior of Quraysh was tearing her heart. And Muhammad was comforting her. Daughter, do not cry. God will help your father. And what was Abu Lahab's attitude? Abu Talib died, so he remained silent for a few days. Then he began to persecute more cruelly than before. He and his wife were so cruel. And what was the style of Abu Jahl? He was in ambush day and night. Sometimes, he used to put the fools behind Muhammad. Sometimes, he would signal to the goons and they would show their misdeeds. Sometimes he would take some bastards, and when Muhammad came to pray or intend to circumambulate, they would want to kill Muhammad and would plot his murder. Abu Bakr used to stop them and express disgust and hatred for their actions. He would say with great regret, "Will you kill someone because he says, 'My Lord is Allah'?" As a result, even Abu Bakr could not escape from their torture. All of them beat him so much that, in future, he would not even dare to move his lips, and they would be able to carry out their impure actions with complete freedom. But Abu Bakr didn't leave. He would knowingly risk his life, because he loved Muhammad's life more than his own. Then what was the question of leaving? That every injury for Muhammad was a comfort and a source of satisfaction for him. And what happened to Muhammad? He used to say with great pain and regret, "By God, as long as Abu Talib was alive, the Quraysh never persecuted me like this. The messenger of God is being tortured. The arrows of tongues are sticking in his liver." Thinking this, sincere colleagues would suffocate, because in this way, Muhammad was suffering two asperities. One is the shock of the death of Uncle Abu Talib and beloved Khadija, and then the grief of Quraysh's misbehavior. There were very few Muslims in Mecca, just a few to count, and there was a sea of enemies in the competition. In such a situation, what could they do by being poor? They were completely helpless. Therefore, they would be patient and protect Muhammad as much as possible, trusting in Allah. And Muslim women? They also used to see the attack of Quraysh on Muhammad, so they would be very sad. So, one day, Khawla appeared in front of Muhammad. She was the daughter of Hakim and the wife of Uthman bin Mu'an. She said, "Why don't you get married? If you don't find someone like Khadija, it won't matter. That someone will bless you with peace and will lighten the burden of the heart." The beloved Prophet said, "Daughter of Hakim, to whom is it pointed?" Khawla said, "A virgin can also be found, and if you want, a widow will also be found." The beloved Prophet said, "Who is the virgin?" Khawla said, The most right over you is Abu Bakr's daughter. The beloved Prophet said, "And who is widow?" Kola said, "Zuma's daughter Soda. She has believed in you and accepted all things with pleasure. Her husband was also among the exiles in Abyssinia. He died when he returned from there." The beloved Prophet said, "Go and speak for both." Kola went to Soda, said, "Wow, your luck. How many blessings are overshadowing you?" Soda was very surprised. With great eagerness, she said, "What are you saying? I don't understand anything." Kola said, "The messenger of God wants to marry you. That is why I have come to talk." Soda's face lit up with joy, said, "Wow, just go. Mention it to my father too. See what he says." Kola went to Soda's father and told him the good news. When the father heard this news, he was speechless. What a couple! Then Kola came to Ruman, who was the mother of Aisha and the wife of Abu Bakr. As soon as she reached there, she said, "The blessing luck. The messenger of God wants to marry Aisha." Ruman said, "Wow, what an auspicious ceremony this will be. Just wait and let Abu Bakr come too." After some time, Abu Bakr also came, and he welcomed this blessing with great joy. In this way, Muhammad got married to Soda and Aisha. By marriage, the companions' relationship with Muhammad became even stronger. Both got married. Soda left and went to Muhammad's house. But Aisha was still young, so she left after a few years. The excesses of the polytheists were on the peak. Because Abu Talib died, the Quraysh vowed, "We will continue to persecute Muhammad until he revolts from the invitation to the religion, or our swords are stained with his blood. And we will continue to persecute his companions until they become disgusted with Islam and then do not adopt the native religion." It was the 10th year of prophethood and the month of Muhammad-e-Arabisallam or Shawwal, when Muhammad was fed up with their hardships and patience was exhausted. So Muhammad left for Taif. At that time Muhammad was very anxious, and then loneliness in this anxiety. What will happen to the heart? And then he went, so that no one knew. Why did Muhammad go there? Just so that maybe the people there can help. But when Muhammad reached there, the opposite was the case. Apart from helping, they didn't even bother to stay here. They stubbornly denied prophethood, denied Muhammad's invitation, and shamelessly turned away from him, because they were also threatened by the religion of Islam like Quraysh. Taif had a nice climate. The land there was very fertile. The production of grapes and other fruits was endless. Therefore, the elite Quraysh used to spend the summer there. Then the famous Arab idol, Lat, was also there, which was a special and common place of pilgrimage like the Kaaba itself. Due to these features, Taif was a very special and blessed settlement of Arabia. They were afraid that if Muhammad was given peace, the entire Quraysh would become an enemy, and then all the status and popularity of Taif will be destroyed. Now, Muhammad was afraid that if the people of Makkah came to know about the story of Taif, they would make more mockery and become even more reluctant in persecution than before. So, he started to leave there. He said to a leader of Thaqif, a tribe of Taif, "You people did not listen to me, but at least keep my case a secret." But he did not agree to that either. Then, it was not enough. He also raised lechers and thugs of Taif. These lechers started throwing stones on Muhammad's feet with complete brutality. Even the shoes were filled with blood. When Muhammad was overcome with wounds and suffocated by heavy stones, he would sit there. But the oppressors still do not feel pity. They would hold his hand and make him stand up. And when Muhammad started walking, they would throw stones again. At the same time, they used to abuse and clap. The world of humanity. What a strange and tragic scene it was. Muhammad continued to walk, even reached the edge of the settlement. There was a huge garden. in which there were many vines on which were hanging luscious clusters. He entered that garden. Thus he was saved. Muhammad's eyes rose to the sky helplessly. He began to cry out to Allah and cry for his helplessness, that his mercy would be excited and take him under his feet. These words were shaking on the blessed tongue. God, I cry out to you for my helplessness, poverty and worthlessness among people. O King of mercy, you are the Lord of the weak. You are my Lord. To whom are you handing me over? An enemy? Whom you have controlled over me. God, if you are not angry with me, then I do not care. But your well-being is more comfortable for me. I seek refuge from your light, by which all darkness is dispelled, and upon which the system of both worlds is established. I seek refuge in you from being angry with me. All powers and plans are in your hands. This garden in which Muhammad stayed, it belonged to two brothers. One's name was Utbah, and the other's name was Sheba. And these were the sons of Rabi'a. Both of them had seen the incident with their own eyes, and that painful scene was in their eyes, while the thugs of the nation were pelting stones at Muhammad, and he was moving forward in great helplessness and indecision. For this reason, both of them felt great pity. So, they immediately called out to the Christian slave and said, Ardus, break a bunch of grapes from the garden and put it on a plate and give it to this poor man. Tell him to eat it. Ardus obeyed the order. He came to Muhammad with grapes and placed it in front of him and said, Eat it. Muhammad raised his hand saying, Bismillah, in the name of Allah, and started eating. Ardus was stunned. He was surprised and said, By God, I have never heard such a phrase from anyone's tongue here. Muhammad said, Which land do you belong to, and what religion do you belong to? What is your name? Ardus replied, I am a resident of Naljih, a follower of the Christian religion, and my name is Ardus. Muhammad said, From the town of Yunus bin Muta. He was a very good man. Hearing this, Ardus's surprise increased. He said eagerly, How did you know who was Yunus bin Muta? Muhammad said, Yunus is my brother. He was also a prophet. I am also a prophet. Hearing this, Ardus became uncontrollable and immediately bowed down and kissed Muhammad's hands and feet, and kissed his head. Utbah and Sheba were watching all this and were very surprised that what was the matter. Then Ardus returned, so they said, Ardus, why were you kissing this man's hands and feet? Hearing this, he said, My master, there is no better man on earth than him. He said something that only the Prophet can tell. After hearing this, they said, Ardus, do not leave your religion by following his words. Your religion is better than his religion. Holy Prophet was completely disappointed by Thaqif, and there was no hope of getting help from them. So, now he said goodbye to Taif and started walking fast in the desert. Now Muhammad was heading towards Makkah, the same Makkah which he had said goodbye and had come out in the desire to find shelter elsewhere else, which could become a replacement for the oppression and helplessness here. But this wish of Muhammad did not come true. There is a place between Taif and Makkah, Nakla. While walking, he got tired, so he stayed there. Then, when the night came and there was silence everywhere, Muhammad stood up for prayer in this calm solitude and started reciting the Quran in a loud and sweet voice. Coincidentally, a group of jinns passed by. In this way, the sound of reciting the Quran also came to their ears. They found this word very strange, and they stopped and started listening. Then, God's help was included, and they were blessed with guidance. So, they returned to their nation and said, Indeed, we have heard a wondrous recitation. It leads to right guidance, so we believed in it, and we will never associate anyone with our Lord in worship. Muhammad was reciting the Quran in the silence of the night, and this group of jinn was listening with great interest and taking influence. Finally, they accepted Islam and warned their nation, but Muhammad remained completely unaware. Even Allah himself gave the news. Remember, O Prophet, when we sent a group of jinn your way to listen to the Quran. Then, upon hearing it, they said to one another, "Listen quietly." Then when it was over, they returned to their fellow jinn as warners. On the other hand, the Quraysh had come to know the whole situation of Taif, and they had come to know how Muhammad had failed there, and how brutally the thugs of Thaqif had hurt him. They were very happy about this and were making fun of Muhammad. They also swore to each other, "If Muhammad returned to Makkah again, we would not sit down peacefully until we killed him," because they thought that Thaqif's failure would disappoint him and cool all the enthusiasm. Then, it will be easy to overcome Muhammad, and his death will be a left-hand game. These were the conspiracies of Quraysh, but Muhammad was completely unaware. So he left Nakla for Makkah. But good coincidence, when he reached a place called Hira, some people of Quraysh were found. In this way, he knew everything about the intentions and plans of the Quraysh. Then he said to one of them, "Can you convey a message of mine to the Quraysh?" The man said, "Yes, of course." Muhammad said, "Go to Aqnas, the son of Sharik, and tell him that Muhammad has asked, 'Can you give me shelter?' so that I can convey the message of the Lord to the people." He went and met Aqnas and recited the message of Muhammad. Aqnas said, "I am an ally of Quraysh. I have an agreement with them. How can I give shelter against them?" He came back to Muhammad and repeated what Aqnas had been said to him. Muhammad said, "Will you bother again?" The man said, "Yes." Muhammad said, "Just go to Amr's son Sohail and ask him if you can give peace to Muhammad, so that he can freely convey the message of the Lord." He reached Sohail with the message, so Sohail replied, "The tribe of Amir bin Louis cannot give peace against the family of Kaib." The man came back to Hira and told him what Sohail had said. Muhammad said, "Well, will you take the trouble once again?" The man said, "Yes, tell me." Muhammad said, "This time, go to Adi's son Mutam and ask him this." So, he went to Mutam and said, "Will you give peace to Muhammad?" Mutam replied, "Yes, he must come." Then, in the morning, Mutam prepared himself and ordered the sons and nephews to prepare, so that if anyone molested while entering Makkah, he could support Muhammad. So, everyone wore war clothes. Hang the swords from the waist, take the spears in the hands and move towards the Kaaba. Quraysh was there at that time. Abu Jahl was also there. As soon as he saw him, he said, "Why Matam? Did you give peace or did you believe?" Matam said, "Peace has been given." Abu Jahl said, "Whoever you gave peace to, we also gave him peace." Thus, the messenger of God entered Makkah, and because Matam had given peace, no one said anything. Muhammad went straight to the Kaaba for the purpose of circumambulation. At that time, the Quraysh were also sitting there in a meeting. Among them were some Hashmi. Abu Jahl saw Muhammad, so he said this phrase to him, "Ali Manaf, this is your prophet." Rabi'ah's son, Utbah, was also present there. It was also Hashmi and was still on Qurayshi's religion. Said, "If there is a prophet among us, or if someone gets a kingdom, then what is the point of jealousy?" Muhammad heard these words, so he came near and said, "Surprised, Utbah, there was no honor for God and the messenger but honor for yourselves." Then he said to Abu Jahl, "Oh, listen, Abu Jahl, that time is coming. Yes, it is coming very fast, when all the laughter will disappear and you will cry." Then he addressed the others and said, "Leaders of Quraysh, listen too. Open your ears and listen. The day is not far when you will suffer a very terrible end. How much will the Quraysh be confused by these things? It is difficult to assess. But Matam had given shelter to Muhammad, so they could not did anything. Now, Muhammad's attention was diverted from Quraysh and turned to other tribes. Went to their homes, went to their chapels, went to their settlements and markets. He went and called them to Allah, assured him of being a prophet, incited to believe and to follow, to help and support, so that Muhammad could convey the message of Allah and guide the misguided people to the straight path. Beloved Prophet had a cousin sister, Hind. She was the daughter of Abu Talib and was known as Hani among the people. It was the 10th year of prophethood, and it was the month of Rajab. One night, Muhammad slept at his house as usual, opened his eyes before dawn. He got up at the same time, performed ablution and prayed. Then he turned towards her and said, Hani. I prayed Isha, night, prayer here with you. You had seen it. Then I went to Maqdis. I prayed there. Then I offered Fajr prayer with you. Hani was surprised to hear that Muhammad prayed the Isha prayer at our house, then prayed in Maqdis in the middle of the night, then offered Fajr with us. Why did this happen? So, she came to Muhammad and sat down and said, just tell me in detail, what happened? And how did it happen? Muhammad said, Hani, I was sleeping when I suddenly felt like someone was waking me up. So, I awoke. Now, what I saw was the roof and Hazrat Jibreel. And this was the very first coincidence. Before that, he never came like this. So, as soon as he came, he held my hand and took me to the Kaaba. Then, he laid me down there and choked my chest and poured a plate of gold, which was full of faith and wisdom, into my chest. Then he closed my chest. After that, a very white animal came, which was a little smaller than a mule and a little bigger than a donkey. We both rode on it and reached Maqdis in the blink of an eye. On reaching there, I prayed. All the prophets behind me also prayed. Hani listened to this strange incident very carefully, and at that time where she realized the greatness of Muhammad, she was also afraid of some danger. She said, my brother, do not explain this to anyone else. Otherwise, those who have believed, they will also put their hands on their ears. Muhammad said, no, I will also explain to Quraysh. She said, my brother, I swear, do not tell the Quraysh at all, otherwise they will immediately deny it and cause harm. Muhammad said, no, I will explain to them. Then he got up and went to the gatherings of Quraysh. At that time, Hani made one of his concubines with Muhammad to go and see and come and inform her whatever will happen. Muhammad directly reached the Kaaba. He saw that some people of Quraysh were sitting there. He went and sat next to them to tell them what he had seen. But then he thought there was some hesitation, and he was immersed in a deep thought. I will narrate this incident. So what will be the end of it? Will people listen to me? Or will they deny me? And should I also tell the whole story? Should I narrate that at night? From there I went to Maqdis and visited the heavenly kingdom too. Or should I just tell you as much as I told Hani? It was too late, but Muhammad remained seated. At that time, there were two types of conditions with him. On the one hand, he was very nervous. The blessed face was shining with joy that my Lord has blessed me with what kind of blessings, and how much I have honored me. In a single night, he took a tour of Maqdis from the Kaaba. Then from there he also ascended to the higher heavens, where is the throne of God and where God's kingdom is. On the other hand, there was a storm of fears, which was coming. He would like to think, when I tell this to Quraysh, they will make fun of me. They will consider me a liar. Although I want to describe the greatness of the Lord that I have witnessed myself, and to be aware of the signs of God that my eyes have seen, to them. Muhammad was very uneasy at this thought. So Muhammad bowed his head and sat quietly. Although he never sat like this in the Kaaba. Others also saw that Muhammad was sitting quietly against the habit. Abu Jahl was also there and Muhammad too. Abu Jahl saw him worried. So he got up and came closer and said, "Muhammad, what happened? Isn't there anything new today?" Now, Muhammad got a chance to speak his mind. He said, "Yes, I was taken for a walk tonight." Abu Jahl said, "How far?" The beloved Prophet said, "To Bayt al-Maqdis." Abu Jahl's laughter burst out, and he was about to laugh out loud, but he acted with restraint, because this could have become a successful weapon to defeat him and make his words suspicious in the eyes of the people. He encouraged Muhammad more. He said, "Well, if I call others, will you tell them these things too?" Muhammad said, "Yes." It had to hear that Abu Jahl shouted loudly, "Oh Ali Kaib bin Louis!" Screaming to the air, this sound hit the ears and all the people gathered together. "Abu al-Hikam, what is the matter?" Now he pointed to Muhammad. "What has just been narrated? Just tell the people." Muhammad said, "Tonight an animal named Barak came. Sitting on it, I traveled to Jerusalem. When I got there, a group of prophets came. Among them were Abraham, Moses, and Jesus. I saw them all. They offered prayer behind me. Hearing this, many became uncontrollable and burst into loud laughter." Abu Jahl said mockingly, "Well, all the prophets were brought to you alive. Just describe their shapes." Muhammad said, "Jesus is neither short nor tall. His chest is broad. His body drips with blood. His hair is reddish. The body of Moses is short and heavy. He is tall. And by God, Abraham is most similar to me, both in appearance and character." Everyone pressed their fingers under their teeth to hear what Muhammad was saying. Is it really true or a lie and fabrication? In this way, the of greatness and magnanimity of Muhammad sat on some hearts. Some people were shocked and their minds were confused. Some began to deny and mock Muhammad. Some went to the house of his dear friend, Abu Bakr, to tell him the strange news. They said, "Abu Bakr, just listen to your master. He says that tonight, I have been given a tour of Bayt al-Maqdis." Abu Bakr said, "Has he said it himself?" They said, "Yes." Hazrat Abu Bakr said, "If Muhammad has said, then surely he has said the truth." They said, "How can you believe? He went to Bayt al-Maqdis and returned before dawn." Abu Bakr said, "Indeed. Not only this, I believe in even more strange things. He says that whatever the time of night or day, news comes to me from the sky in a little while, and I have no doubts about it. Tell me, how strange is this?" Then Abu Bakr came to the beloved Prophet. At that time, he was in the Kaaba, and the polytheists were saying to him, "Muhammad, we had some doubts until now, but it was found that you are really a liar. You say everything on your own behalf. We go on camels, so it takes a month to arrive and a month to return. And you say that you went in the same night and came back, by Layt and Uzza. We can never believe it. This is a lie, a complete lie." Abu Bakr said, "Muhammad does not lie. Indeed, he is telling the truth." Matan said, "Muhammad, just explain the map of Bayt al-Maqdis." Abu Bakr understood that Matan wanted to disturb Muhammad. So, he wanted Muhammad to explain, so that it could be proved to be true. He said, "Messenger of Allah, explain, I have gone there." Muhammad began to describe the map there without hesitation, although he had never been there before. As many signs and symbols were there, Muhammad described them all. He was narrating and people were listening with great surprise. But the matter was not even over. Their obstinacy woke up again, and they shook their heads in a suspicious manner and said, "Surely someone has told you all this. Bring another clear argument." Now, Muhammad began to describe the things he had gone through on the way. He said, "I met so-and-so caravan. I have passed through so-and-so settlements. I have seen so-and-so camels. So many caravans are about to arrive soon, and so many are still some distance away. Then these caravans are these goods, and they have such animals." The polytheists said, "How can we believe your words like this? Just wait. Let the caravans come. We will also ask them where they were that night. And the signs you are telling, let us see with our own eyes." At that time, Abu Bakr said, "Messenger of Allah, you have spoken the truth." Now, Muhammad bowed his head and remained like this for some time. Then he raised his blessed head and looked at Abu Bakr and said, "Abu Bakr, Allah gave you the title of Siddiq, truest." Then the assembly dismissed and people spread here and there. But now wherever you look, this was the talk, and wherever you look, it was mentioned. Now, where two men met, they would talk like this. Is this event true? Does the intellect believe it? Is it possible to travel so far in such a long time? A few days had passed and there was such chatter from all sides that those caravans arrived. It was seen that the goods were the same, which Muhammad had told, and the animals were exactly the same. So, did the polytheists now bow their heads before Muhammad? No. Their obstinacy got more excited. They said, "Walid, the son of Mughira, said that Muhammad is a magician. He didn't say something wrong. Look, these things prove him true. Indeed, he spoke the truth." The assembly of polytheists was dismissed. So the beloved Prophet sat down among his sincere companions and began to mention the great blessings that Allah had bestowed upon Muhammad. Muhammad narrated the situation of going to heaven from Bayt al-Maqdis. He described the manifestations of nature that he had seen there. Muhammad said that how Hazrat Gabriel first took him to heaven. Adam, the father of mankind, was found there. The situation was that when he looked to the right, he would laugh with pleasure, and when he looked to the left, he would be filled with tears of grief, because on the right were the actions of the good children, and on the left were the deeds of the evil ones. Hazrat Adam saw Muhammad, then said, "Welcome, O good Prophet, O good son." Muhammad asked, "Gabriel, who is this?" He replied, "This is Adam, the father of all men." Then he took Muhammad to the second heaven, then to the third. In the same way they continued to advance. In each heaven these heartwarming phrases kept ringing in the ears. "Welcome, O good Prophet, O good brother." He even reached seventh heaven. There, he met Hazrat Ibrahim. Seeing him, Abraham said, "Welcome, O good Prophet, O good son." Then go on and on and on. On the way, Muhammad saw the splendor of beauty and glory. Thousands of angels were also seen, who were engaged in prostration and glorification. Increasingly, Muhammad approached the throne of God. 50 prayers were obligatory on Muhammad and on the Ummah. Then he returned. When he passed by Hazrat Musa, as soon as he saw him he asked, "Say, what is obligatory on the Ummah?" Muhammad said, 50 prayers. Moses said, "Go back and ask the Lord for a reduction." So, Muhammad went and asked for a reduction. Allah reduced the prayers by half. On his way back, he met Hazrat Musa again. He heard it, so he said, "Then go and ask for a reduction. Even so many prayers will be heavy on the Ummah." Muhammad then returned and requested a reduction. Allah accepted the request and shortened some prayers again. When Moses came to know, he said, "Go one more time and ask for more reduction." Muhammad came again, So Allah reduced to 5 prayers this time and said, "These are 5 prayers, but their reward is 50. My decisions do not change." The whole night passed and the sincere companions sat. Muhammad had seen the scenes in the sky and the light of God's power. He was speaking with full interest and the companions were listening with more. Muhammad also described what he had seen in paradise, and also told the good companions that these are the blessings in paradise, which are waiting for you.